pod bay doors.
Greetings and welcome to another exciting episode of The Cinematic Traveler. I am your intrepid movie exploring host, Chris, and on this very special episode, and for a generation of people out there, when you hear me say a very special episode, you have some things conjured in your mind right now. And yes, on this very special episode of The Cinematic Traveler, our intrepid movie exploring host, Chris, is invited to watch a movie entitled One Battle After Another with Frank, the host of Reels of Cinema, in his bicycle shop with Chris's friend Dudley, where Frank wants them to wear their underwear like Tarzan as they watch the movie. Will Punky Brewster save them in time? So for you 80s kids out there, you are all just understood that joke. Everybody else has already left Frank, so we are in good shape. But yes, we have a special guest. This is a first for our show, this show, at least, Cinematic Traveler, as I am going to have help with one of these reviews because I absolutely need it, especially this movie. And we have Frank, our friend from Reels of Cinema. How are you this evening, Frank?
I am doing great, but I also want to point out one thing. When you said very special episode, the first episode that popped into my head was from The Facts of Life. Will Tudor go all the way with her boyfriend?
That's a good. I always go. I guess I shouldn't, but I always go to that bicycle shop from Different Strokes.
Okay, that's
or
disturbing.
else, yeah, the other one was it Family Ties, where Chandler dies in the car crash?
Oh, that was Growing
Matthew
Pains.
Perry. That was a long time ago. Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about One Battle After Another, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Before we get into that, let's do all of the podcaster mumbo jumbo. You're going to have to hear it twice from two of us. I'm going to start because it's my show, damn it. And you all know what to do. Give me a follow, like, subscribe, leave comments. You can get in touch with me on social media. Instagram's best way, at Cinematic Traveler Pod, I think. And my email address, thecinematictravelerpod@gmail.com. But to be fair to my guest, to have equal time, I will allow him to tell you where to find his show, what his show is all about, and why you should go listen to it, not only because I have said you should. Frank, the floor is yours, my good man.
Chris, the other man, and thank you. So, my show is called Reels of Cinema, and I take usually two movies every episode, pair them up, and they usually share some kind of a common thread, whether it's the same actor in both or the same director, some thematic connection. And I give the basic plot setup and then the behind-the-scenes fun facts. I have a cooking segment where you get a food or maybe a drink recipe that's thematically linked to the movie or movies being discussed. I have results of the poll that I always put out on my socials. I have a poll each week about the upcoming episode. It's meant to generate interest in each upcoming episode. And it's a poll relating to the film or films being discussed. And then, of course, every episode I have an interactive trivia segment. And Chris, you are one of the regulars in that segment, and I could not.
Yes, I am.
Could not appreciate that more. So bless you. I swear to God that I am lighting candles in your name, and God and Jesus clapped on the day you were born. So thank you for being a faithful regular with this trivia segment.
I'm glad I could answer the questions, most of them without Google.
And I would be remiss if I were not to give a shout out to my friend Davey A., who lives out in Liverpool, England. He and we co-host a show called Movies Across the Pod. And in that one, each of us alternating episodes, we take turns pitching a movie for the other one to see for the next episode, one that they have not seen before. So that's a lot of fun. We don't publish nearly as many episodes of that as I would like because of the time difference. But every time we do, it's great. It's a good time. So, Movies Across the Pod.
Great host. and if anybody wants to hear two amazing accents, you should go listen to Movies Across the Pod between Dave's Liverpool accent and Frank's Boston accent. It's priceless.
But yeah, so those are my two podcasts, and you can find me on Facebook. Public Facebook group is Reels of Cinema, which is the same name as my solo podcast. You can also find me on X Twitter at FilmBuff1974. Instagram and Threads, both at Frank Mendoza 1974, or you can simply email me at reelsofcinemapod@gmail.com. just be sure to include the pod.
There it is. There it is. All right. Well done, sir. Well done. How do I do this now?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was going to say, we wrapped up all of that podcaster mumbo jumbo. I hope all of my beloved listeners are enjoying this moment. I hope you're doing well out there. Settle in. Frank and I will be here for the next 7 or 8 hours discussing one battle after another, breaking down every minute detail in the film. Oh, my regular listeners know that is bullshit. They're going to be lucky I remember part of the movie.
Well, if it means you and I talking for 7 or 8 hours, that's 7 or 8 hours too short for me.
There it is. There it is. Oh, I can't handle all this praise right now. All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and talk about one battle after another.
Yeah, it's going to be fun on the bun.
Again, this is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson of, oh my God, how many movies has he done? It seems like he's been around forever. I remember Boogie Nights. That's an excellent movie. There Will Be Blood. Licorice Pizza was not too long ago. What other ones, Frank?
He also did Magnolia.
Yes.
In 1999.
We've named all the big ones.
We've named all because sometimes...
No, that's enough. That's enough of that. Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson. You got enough praise for your movies. All right.
Sometimes I get him mixed up with Wes Anderson, so...
Okay. Well, as long as you don't get him mixed up for Paul W. S. Anderson or what? Who's the guy that did Event Horizon or whatever?
Jesus.
Anyway, all right. We're off the rails. Everybody that's normally listening, this is the way it goes. Any of Frank's regular listeners, this is how one of my episodes go. I have this conversation with myself. I just confuse myself all the way through. All right. So before we get into it, I have to over-explain something, and I have changed something a little bit on this episode. But usually we go spoiler-free, and I think we're going to do that as well on this one. I don't want to ruin anything with this movie since it just came out. So I will give you, or Frank and I should say, will give you a spoiler-free review, but I am going to give you a spoiler-free plot synopsis. Now, hidden in that plot synopsis, I usually put a movie quote in the plot synopsis for you to find. This time I decided to do something different because as I was watching this movie, a song got stuck in my head the whole time that related. I felt like related to this movie. So I'm going to mix it up. Instead of a movie quote, I'm going to do some song lyrics. And you can let me know that song. You could put who did it or whatever, and just get in touch with me through my Instagram at Cinematic Traveler Pod, my email address, thecinematictravelerpod@gmail.com, or in the comment section on whatever you listen to. I will find it. I'll give you a point for getting it right. At the end of the month, I add up all the points. And whoever wins gets to pick a movie for me to review next month. Oh my God. Oh my God, how exciting. How exciting. You should see Frank now. He's left his chair just from excitement and floated to the roof. Like he drank some of that bubbly, sifty things from Willy Wonka and stuff. He's just so excited. In fact, he picked the movie last month, and he's got a poster right over his shoulder of The Graduate. That could be you. You could win the contest and pick a movie for me to review. I know it seems a little uncool, but that's the best time of the week to be uncool with Chris.
Shall I belch my way down from the ceiling?
So bear with me on this one. This movie is 2 hours and 41 minutes, so it was very difficult for my brain, my ADD brain, to process all this into a coherent plot synopsis. We open the film with a revolutionary group, the French 75th or 75, who are all Americans, oddly enough, preparing to raid an immigration holding camp in California. They want to bust in there, free all the captive Mexican immigrants, maybe take a little justice on the police force, military force, whatever that is controlling this situation. Now, in this group, we have Rocket Man, played by everybody's favorite Leonardo DiCaprio, and Perfidia, I think that's how you say her name, played by Teyana Taylor, who are kind of sort of a couple, I guess, who seem to get more and more aroused as they do these raids with all of the fighting and bullets going off and bombs going off. That I guess is some sort of aphrodisiac on this version of planet Earth. So they sort of form this, like I said, a relationship with each other. And as this relationship starts to grow, Rocket Man begins to develop feelings, saying something like, "You make me shiver. I feel so tender. We make a pretty good team. Don't get exhausted. I'll do some driving. You ought to get you some sleep. Hint, hint. I'll have lots of them throughout this. All right. Well, during one particular raid, Perfidia confronts the head of the, I guess, they were police, weren't they, Frank? Or were they military? They were kind of a mixture of both, right?
A mixture of both, yes.
Okay,
I think Sean Penn's character was military.
Yeah, all right. So, well, that's who she runs into, the head of this one camp, Colonel Lockjaw, who I think was in He-Man. Was he not in He-Man? I swear there was a Lockjaw in He-Man. But not that Lockjaw. Yeah, Sean Penn, who kind of looks like he should be in a He-Man universe at this point in his life. And I guess for some reason, Perfidia decides to let Lockjaw, how should I say, cross her southern borders. Well, eventually, Perfidia is captured and is forced to decide whether to stay silent and not say anything about this revolutionary force and go to jail, or to basically rat on her co-revolutionaries, with Lockjaw edging her on by saying something like, "High on a hillside, the trucks are loading, everything's ready to roll. I sleep in the daytime, I work in the nighttime. I might not ever get home." I don't know if that has anything to do with that, but I like that line. So anyway, complicating things a little bit here is that Perfidia has just had a baby, a small daughter that her and her new family of her and Rocket Man are now in danger because of Colonel Lockjaw, making her decision a little bit more challenging. Now, before the walls close in on Rocket Man, he is given a new name, Bob, and his daughter is given a new name, Willa. And Bob and Willa are sent into hiding, with our revolutionaries telling them if things get bad that they will transmit the message to the receiver. Hope for the answer someday. I got 3 passports, a couple of visas. You don't even know my real name. This is all just for me. I'm just amusing myself at this point. All right, where was I? So we move 16 years later. Now Willa is obviously a teenager, played by Chase Infinity. That cannot possibly be her real name. And she, like I said, she's a young teen, and she's got a bit of a rebellious side of her own. And she butts heads with Bob as she is headed to the school dance. Some of you that know that song know where the next lyric's coming from. Unfortunately, Colonel Lockjaw is closing in. But one of Bob's former cohorts, Deandra, played by Regina King, finds Willa at the dance and tells her, "This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. No time for dancing or lovey-dovey. I ain't got time for that now." All right. And they flee before they are captured. Meanwhile, Bob has been contacted and told to get the hell out of Dodge, forcing him to team up with Sensei Sergio, played by the great, and I'm going to mess up his name, Benicio del Toro. And they're off to find Willa before Lockjaw does. Now, Sensei is a bit confused with Bob's history, and so Bob has to explain this revolutionary group, saying, "We dress like students, we dress like housewives, or in a suit and a tie. I changed my hairstyles so many times now, I don't even know what I look like." So, will Bob and Sensei Sergio be able to save Willa from the diabolical Colonel Lockjaw, or will Lockjaw show them what life during wartime is all about? Well, Frank and I are not going to spoil that by answering those questions, but we are going to give you the best review for one battle after another in all of the podcaster, YouTuber universe, nay, in all of the universe. All right, now we've gotten all of that silliness out of the way. Let's get serious. Let's get serious. Now, this is a serious movie. This isn't the normal trash I watch. This is Oscar award-winning stuff here. Okay, I'm not sure about you, Frank, but I was really kind of excited to see this movie. I remember seeing the trailer when it came out. I like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's a good one. We actually talked about him in The Departed way back when. And the trailer was really cool. And we'll get to some of the scenes in that we can share that kind of made the movie really good. But so I was excited until you texted me the other day and told me it was 2 hours and 41 minutes. And if you go to Regal, you add another 30 minutes on top of that. So it's 3 hours on my day. I was crying as I walked into the movie theater.
Exact same story if you go to National Amusement Showcase. 30 minutes was what you sat through of
Yeah.
ads and previews?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'd say about probably 40.
But were you excited to be seeing this? Was this one of the ones that you were like chomping at the bit to go watch?
The truth is that by choice, I stayed away from anything having to do with this movie. I did not see a trailer. I came across a couple of articles, but I did not read them. I just emailed them to myself to save for later after I saw the film. So I went in, honestly, totally blind.
Nice.
I mean, I knew who was in the film. I knew it was Leo. I knew it was PTA. I knew it was Benicio del Toro. Like, I knew who was in the film and who was behind the film. But as far as the story, all I knew was that he had a teenage daughter, that they were separated, that he was trying to get to her. And I also knew that the film had a lot of political overtones. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge as I've been in.
And that pretty much covers the movie. Good night, everybody. Well, all right. On that note, let's go ahead and get into the positives of one battle after another.
Sounds pleasant.
And Frank, since you are my humble guest, I am going to let you start. What category should we start with? Acting? Let's start with acting. Why not? That's always a good one to start with, especially with a little Leo. Good old Leo in it. What were your overall impressions? Did anybody stand up or stand out to you? Have at it.
First, this movie was worth the price of admission simply for seeing Leo in a man bun.
And you get a lot of it.
I never thought I would see the day. But that aside, I will say that over the years, I would say pretty much ever since the 90s, I've always had sort of a hot-cold impression of Leo as far as his acting skills. I always categorize his movies as good Leo and bad Leo.
Right.
So, for example, Titanic, bad Leo. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Excellent Leo.
But if you ask Leo, he would tell you he got a much better paycheck from bad Leo on that one.
There is no denying that. Gangs of New York, bad Leo.
Okay.
The Aviator, good Leo.
Very
Blood
good
Diamond, good Leo, and Blood Diamond. The Departed, good Leo. Revolutionary Road, good Leo. So by 2008, I was like, okay, maybe he's going to be a good Leo from now on consistently because he's got a hot streak going.
Right.
And then along came Wolf of Wall Street, and let's see.
Man, he's harsh.
What? No. I'm not saying anything bad about that one. I'm just saying Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh.
And then Killers of the Flower Moon, and then this. So I've always blown hot and cold with him.
Okay.
But I will go on record as saying that, personal opinion only, this is his best performance of his entire career.
Wow.
And this is also the best role he has ever had. And yes, I saw The Revenant. And yes, I saw Killers of the Flower Moon and all the other films that I've mentioned. This is his best performance. The Revenant, honestly, what did he do? He makes sure that everyone knows that he ate raw bison. He makes sure that everybody knew that he slept inside a bear. All part of his Oscar campaign. But the reality is that that's all behind the scenes stuff. What you actually see on screen, he's attacked by a bear. Okay, fine. And then he whispers for the rest of the movie. That was my impression of The Revenant. So to me, his Oscar win for The Revenant was one of those, okay, here's your consolation prize because you've never won before. You've always been nominated. So finally, let's give it to you. That'll shut you up.
You've got a good track record of films. Let's go ahead and give you a good one here. Not for one. Exactly. It's kind of like Scorsese. You know, if you want to tie him to that, you give him an Oscar for a movie where you're like, well, okay, that's not really his best movie. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. All I'm saying is one battle after another, I think, is his best performance yet. I think that, see, it's funny because to me, one of the strongest assets of his performance was the relationship he had with his daughter on screen. You believed that they were father and daughter, and you believed that he truly did care about her.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is that he has no children in real life. Oh, I do think that he very believably portrayed a father who was willing to put his life on the line to save his daughter. Yes. You believed that they were father and daughter, and you believed that she was she's 16 years old. You believed that she was very annoyed with him, that she was very tired of the life they were living. She just wanted the life of a normal teenager. And I will say this about Chase Infinity's performance. If she is not recognized this award season, then, and I said this in my online review, I cry foul. She is so damn good in this movie. I honestly think that she gave... See, I hesitate to say this because I don't know if I'll want to take it back in 5 minutes from now, but maybe at least in the moment, in the heat of the moment, I will say that I think her performance was the best in the film. But
I would have to disagree with that. But
I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
But she was amazing. She was incredible.
You are
She's
wrong, sir. The show's over.
I'll hand in my podcast credentials to
Oh
you.
my God! Never again. Never again. Well, I'm
Return
sorry.
them to you at the door on the way out. She's a fresh face. She's a new face in Hollywood. She majored in musical theater. I saw that on IMDb. And this is her first major role in a film. Not her first acting job, but her first major role in a film. She is going up against some pretty legendary titans.
Yes.
She's going up against Academy Award winner Benicio del Toro.
Yep.
She is going up against two-time Academy Award winner Sean Penn. She is going up against Academy Award winner Leo DiCaprio. So for her to hold her own and to, I'm not going to say steal the scene, but I will say exceed the expectation of a, if not teenage, then maybe early 20s, but for an actress of that age bracket, for her to hold her own and to rise to the challenge and to be, at the very least, equally as dynamic and as powerful and as intense as they were on screen. And I really, really hope that this film is a skyrocket for her young career and that her career will be well decorated. If not for this film, then for something in the future, because she was just phenomenal. You really felt for her. As far as Sean Penn goes, okay, Sean Penn. Oh, Shawnee. Okay, so his personal life aside, all of the controversies aside,
yes. We're just judging the performance on the screen.
I very much believe in separating the art from the artist, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Sean Penn's performance in this film was fierce. This guy was fierce, and I mean that in the best possible sense. I mean, he burned through that screen. He didn't even have to say anything. All he had to do was just stare at another character, and he was burning right through the screen. So, very appropriately, he was
for that part.
He was a flamethrower for real. I do think that Benicio del Toro, he was good, but I don't think that his role really gave him much to do. Unless I missed something, I didn't think that his role really had. There wasn't any depth to his character other than to be a vehicle for Leo DiCaprio's character.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's really much. I don't think I can say that his performance was quote unquote good or bad, because I do think he's a great actor. Just watch Traffic, but I just don't think that much was required of him here. So I would say that his performance was good. He offered solid support to Leo, but there wasn't anything special. There wasn't anything showy about his particular role in the film. Tiana Taylor. Wow. Like Sean Penn, she burned through the screen. And I did, in my notes here, I do have a few things. So one of them is at the beginning of the film when she is holding Sean Penn at gunpoint. And it's nighttime, and she's staring at him. And these two powerhouse actors are staring, glaring at each other. And she's holding a gun to him. And she just very fiercely says, I keep using that word fierce. I got to come up with a synonym. Seriously, I tell my students all the time in their essays, avoid word repetition, especially in the same sentence.
But not during podcasting.
Fiery intensity. How's that?
That's good. That's good.
So with fiery intensity, she is looking at Sean Penn, and she says to him, free bodies, free choices, free from fucking fear. Great line, great delivery. I just thought that she blew the film out of the water, again, in the best possible sense. When they were making out, she and Leo DiCaprio, when they were driving away, they weren't even kissing. They were just licking each other's lips.
It was like,
weird. Like literally, their tongues were out and they were licking each other's lips. I was like, okay.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
Tell me you got paid well for that one.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody. In terms of main characters.
The big main stars, right. My point of view, and everybody listening, Frank has prepared vehemently for this. I can see his notes. He's got a PowerPoint presentation back there. I have drunk 7 beers before I started this, so you know my preparation for these shows. I don't know if this is Leo's best performance. It's hard to say anymore because, like you said, he's got some that are really great and some that aren't so great. I've always been a fan of him because I think, and you and I are close to the same age, and you know, when he first came out, he was kind of the teeny heartthrob kind of guy, and he just sort of didn't. He had a few movies like that, but for the most part, he tried to pick things that weren't, even if it wasn't him, his performance wasn't good in that role. At least he was trying something to kind of stay away from that and try to be a better actor as such. But yeah, I really like him in this movie. I think, in my opinion, he carries the movie for me. When he's on screen, especially when all the shit's going down and the chaos, and he's having that 20-minute argument on the phone with that guy about the password. That was priceless. I was laughing out loud at a movie theater because it was priceless. And his chemistry with Benicio del Toro, I know I'm probably butchering his name. I enjoyed that part of the movie. So yeah, I think, Leo, for me, when he was on screen, I was more invested in the movie. I think you are right. He does play the dad, even though it's sort of a Hollywood tropey dad where he's just kind of a burnout and all this shit. Whatever. But he does care about his daughter when she's leaving for the prom, and he has to confront the guys with him and all that. We're going to undertaking her. We're just talking about freedom. If you do anything to my daughter, I will do that to your family. That was great. He was really great. And that determination he had as a dad, as you would, to go track down your daughter and try to be the hero. Well, not necessarily be the hero, just get her back to where she's safe. So yeah, I think for me, he carries the movie. I liked Benicio del Toro in this movie. This is the type of role that I like him in, although I will admit it's not as memorable as some of his other ones, but I like when he's sort of a supporting character in movies. I mean, he's done some where he's the lead and he's fine, but it seems like every time he does a supporting role, it stands out in some way, shape, or form. And I just like his back and forth with Leo. He has the best line for me in the movie was what I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was like, freedom is having no fear, like Tom Cruise. And when I saw that in the trailer, I just laughed. I'm like, that is a great, great line. But yeah, I really liked him. And when he gets the one traffic stop when he's doing stuff, but yeah, I enjoyed his performance. Sean Penn, like you said, I haven't seen him in anything in a long time, but yeah, he does exactly what that role needs him to do. You don't like Sean Penn, and he knows it, and he doesn't give a shit through the whole movie. He lives to be, I guess, the villain, even at points where you think, as a human being, when certain things are revealed where you might soften, even his quote-unquote softening side is still pretty much a worthless piece of shit asshole. So yeah, that's, it fits perfectly in what's going on here with this revolution, and he's the enemy, and he's a bit buffoonish, especially when it comes regards to that Christian it was Christmas adventurer thing and all that wrapped up. It kind of is more satire or parody with some of that stuff. So I thought he did a good job there. I said Regina King. I'm sorry, I apologize. I meant Regina Hall. She has a small part in this movie. I just like her as an actress. So when she was all discreet, I was like, hey, Regina. She doesn't have a lot to do, but it's always nice to see her. Everyone else is fine. We'll talk about some differences of opinion that I have later when we get to the negatives, but I don't think anybody's bad in the movie, or there's a part that kind of drags the film. I mean, there's no actor in the movie where I was like, holy shit, get them off the screen. Especially like you said, with this cast. I do give credit to the young lady, Chase Advidia. Yeah, she's having to deal with actors that, know how to chew the screen when they need to. So, but yeah, overall, I think the performance, I expected that going in from Paul Thomas Anderson. Does he ever have a movie where the actors aren't giving their best? Hell, he got one of Tom Cruise's best performances in Magnolia. So how about, speaking of Paul Thomas Anderson, how about the direction? Anything stand out to you? You love it? Hate it? Feel the pretentiousness of it? Oh, did I say that already? Oh, I'm sorry. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
When it was at the part with the high-speed chase, the camera, it was reminiscent of a camera that, if you see it on, like, you saw it on the Brady Bunch when they went to the amusement park. When you put the camera at the front caboose of it, the front thing of a roller coaster.
Right, the front little car.
The front little car. So, you use the camera, it's like a point of view shot going all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up. So when the camera was obviously mounted on some kind of a fender or something, and you're watching the road, you see the pavement going up and down and up and down. I was thinking to myself, is this showy or is this really, really good? And then I thought, is this trying to outdo the French Connection and both?
Well, there's no chance in hell of that happening.
Or is this PTA just doing what PTA does best?
Yeah, I'll go with that. I actually like that shot. It was cool how it kind of lulls you along, and then when there is a stop to that chase without giving things away, you kind of get a sense of why that would happen, if that makes sense. I know we can't really say stuff, but I thought it was a cool way to do it different. Instead of just having car A, car B, car A, car B.
This film was more straightforward than some of his other films. I think particularly, honestly, of Magnolia, for example. Yeah. I mean, raining frogs. You know, what is that supposed to mean? You know that there's something being said artistically, but what the hell is it? This film doesn't have any of that, which, to be honest with you, I found to be a little bit more user-friendly, viewer-friendly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like movies like Magnolia that have really eccentric things going on. Sometimes they're the best kind, but with this particular story, with this particular premise, I think that the story was best served by being as straightforward as it was.
Yeah, I would say it's probably, maybe, well, no, Boogie Nights is pretty accessible. So I would say it's along that line where you can not be, what's a good word for it? Not a cinephile who is looking for those little experimental things, or the director that pushes the envelope. Or if you're not into that, you could watch this movie and it like you said, it flows better. It's kind of got despite everything going on around it, it has a simple plot. It's good guys, bad guys, daughter gets taken, got to go get her, and the movie sets off.
Yeah. No, this was not Fellini's 8.5. This was something that was a lot more. This was a story. No, this was a story that was being told. It was a success, I think anyway. It was a successful combination of entertainment and intrigue. Definitely political commentary and social commentary. There's no denying that.
Was there political commentary in this movie?
When Benicio del Toro turns to Leo DiCaprio and says, and I quote, "You're a bad hombre," then yes, you're getting political commentary.
You know, there was something I wanted to say, especially with you on the show, and it made me laugh when I was in the movie theater, and I doubt you picked up on this, but you might have. But when Leonardo is, I know, I never used the character's name, but anyway, when Bob is with Sensei and it's kind of got that chaos and everything's moving along, it's very handheld, one shot following one character, it kind of moves to another character, back to a character, and there was this jazz music playing the whole time, and I was like, man, that reminds me of Birdman, because that's sort of how Birdman was. There would be the camera and it would flow behind one person, and then it would move with another person, and you always had that sort of jazz soundtrack.
One of your favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I love Birdman. But I thought, this movie has nothing to do with Birdman, but that made me laugh because, like I said, we talked about it in one of your episodes. I love all that stuff like that, especially with that chaos going around, and it just makes you feel like you're part of the movie, and you've got anxiety as you're following him around and all the chaos. And poor Leo when he gets stuck with the young guys, and they're he's supposed to follow him and he can't because he's so old. I could relate to Leo in so many parts of this movie. The whole thing with forgetting all the passwords and stuff was just, I was like, yeah, that's about right.
Oh God. And every time you have a saved password, then 2 days later it says, your password appeared in a data leak. Change now.
Yeah, and don't let it be any of the last 3 you used. I don't remember the last one I used. But I think overall, and you may agree with me, I think this is, it's Paul Thomas Anderson. I did not go into expecting it to be some hack job. It could have been, there are directors that have duds in the can, but this one isn't. It looks great. As you mentioned, it does move along. It's accessible. It's not super complicated and super artistic. He has his moments, but for the most part, again, it's very audience friendly.
Which is weird for a movie that's as long as it is. But it is.
I'll get to that. Oh, will I get to that? And another thing that he does very well, and it's the music. He always knows how to mix the music in, the right song at the right time. And like I said, having that jazz kind of undertone in the chaos thing, you get the pop song at the right time that, fits the mood. He's always been good at that.
You have the instrumental stuff, and you have songs like Soldier Boy, American Girl, Shut Up and Dance With Me.
Yeah.
All playing at exactly the right times.
So, yeah, I think overall, as far as just the filmmaking, the craftsmanship on board, this is better than most that come out in the movie theaters that I unfortunately sit through every week. Are there any other positives that you could think of that you want to add to acting, directing, anything else that stood out to you?
Honestly, the cinematography and the editing, you already mentioned the musical score, so no need to go through that again. All of the shot, I already mentioned the point of view shots of the car chase sequence, but just the way that again, I don't want to spoil anything, but there are just a lot of very fast-paced scenes where the camera just very skillfully makes you say, did I just see that, or did I misinterpret that? Or is that something that was supposed to happen, or was that a mistake?
Yeah.
And who knows about that, but everything that ended up in the final edit, I just think that it was a very, for a film that was as long as it was, I thought the pacing might have let up a little bit in the middle, but overall, I thought the pacing was really, there was always something happening.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if it wasn't a lot of action per se, even if it was just character development stuff, like an intimate conversation between characters, there was always something happening. There was always something that was advancing the story. There was no filler.
Speaking of the cinematography, there was the chaos stuff where you had the camera in tight, and then there were parts, especially when they were in the car chase and stuff, and they're out in the desert, that he kind of pulls the camera back and lets you get these beautiful landscape shots and everything. So, yeah, come on. It's Paul Thomas Anderson. What the fuck? I could give him my iPhone and he could go out there and make a beautiful movie. So, having praised the film, it's not without its faults, at least from this particular reviewer. And since it's my show, we're going to talk about them. So let's talk about the negatives of one battle after another.
Uh-oh, I don't like the sound of that.
All right, Frank, I'm sure your list will be much shorter than mine. Fire away. What are some of your negatives in this movie?
Well, I do have a few things here written down that I did want to make sure that I pointed out. And it's not so much faults with the story itself. It's more moments that I said, okay, how could that happen? How could that not happen? Just moments that were too much of suspension of disbelief. So, for example, the bank robbery scene. They walk in. Perfidia and the others, they walk in. And she's not worried about surveillance cameras. Her face is not covered at all.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, is this meant to show... Yeah, it's like, was this just meant to show how much of a badass she was, how aggressive she was, how much she really was trying to stick it to the man, quote unquote? Or was this just something that... I think PTA is too brilliant of a filmmaker to have that kind of thing be an oversight. So... my only guess is that it was probably something that reflected the kind of character she was supposed to be.
I would lean that way myself.
But that did cross my mind, and I thought to myself, oh, okay. Okay, this is going to sound really crude, and I apologize in advance.
No, don't say anything crude on this show. This host would not stand for such things. Unless I'm saying them.
So I'll just simply say in advance, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. The scene when...
Frank, he's not listening to this podcast either.
The scene where they're playing the song Soldier Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And Perfidia has Sean Penn against the wall. He's facing the wall. He has his arms outstretched, his palms against the wall. And they're about to do some business.
Right.
But she is facing his back. And then she goes down on her knees. Was she supposed to be...
Some of these things are best left to your imagination.
I just thought to myself, okay, Sean Penn, that's just a portal into hell. So I won't say who, and I won't say in what context. I'll just simply say that there is a scene in an elevator where someone takes out a comb, licks the comb, proceeds to comb their hair, then licks their fingers, and rubs the fingers against the comb and proceeds to comb their hair with their saliva. I didn't know if that was supposed to be a very subtle reference to Fahrenheit 9/11, that Michael Moore documentary from 2004.
Oh, God. Okay.
Where you have, very infamously, there is footage of a politician doing just that.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that movie since it came out, so.
Knowing how political this film is intended to be, I didn't know if it was a subtle reference to that. Either way, I was a little nervous about the people I was seeing this movie with. Total strangers that, not sitting next to me or anything, but when Bill is taken, when he's hosting the radio program, they throw a hood over his face and they yank him away from the microphone. There was an audience member who actually clapped at that moment. Now, this is not a negative on the film. This is not a negative on the film.
A weird place to clap. I was a little upset. I was like, there is no way he's getting good sound quality out of that setup that he's got.
So we think we're bad. So that's not a negative on the film, of course, but right. That was something that I felt compelled to mention. This film will certainly stir up a lot of emotions in people. I don't think it's gonna do any favors to those who want union instead of further division. One other negative about the film, and I thought this was really a groaner of a moment. It was very dramatic. It was very impactful, very memorable. The school dance where she shows up and she goes into the ladies' room, and that is where Willa is, and they communicate, and okay, I know I'm supposed to go with you, etc., etc., etc. How the hell did she walk in to this high school unnoticed? No teachers, no chaperones in the hallway taking tickets, nobody at the door. I work in a high school, I can tell you.
Especially nowadays, that's not going to happen.
Especially nowadays, yes. That was just something that I said, okay, this really is a stretch.
Yeah.
Now, on top of the fact that she was able to walk in unnoticed, carrying weapons, may I add, and the fact that the two of them walked out of the dance, carrying weapons, may I add, through the gymnasium where the fucking dance is happening.
Right.
Nobody
gets alarmed by that.
And no surveillance cameras in this school. I know I keep going back to this surveillance camera issue, but come on now. That just really, to me, that just did not work because it was so highly unlikely. Add to it, how the fuck did she know that she was in the ladies' room? How did she know that she was there? I mean, even if she was standing there in the hallway watching the dance, trying to spot her in the crowd, and then saw her walking into the ladies' room. Okay, let's say, for the sake of argument, that's what happened. A random woman armed in the hallway of a high school. No one's gonna notice that she's staring at a gymnasium full of kids.
Yeah,
that bothered me. That really.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if it would have bothered me as much if I didn't work in a high school, but that bothered me because it just gives.
I will say I wasn't so much bothered by it, but I did pick up on okay, wait a minute. How is she getting through this dance like that? I know where the bathroom was when she went to the bathroom and they showed her walking across things. How did she get there and do that? I agree with that.
And the one last thing I have is it's when Leo is finally escaping from Benicio del Toro's apartment building and Del Toro tells him, don't call attention to yourself, just sort of slither away there, porcupine. So Leo is running down the hallway, and what does he do? He yells, "Viva la Revolution!"
Yes.
At the top of his lungs in the hallway. Very smooth, Leo. Then he climbs up out of the fire escape and onto the roof, as told, and he's there yelling on the roof at the other guys. I think it's the same kind of idea as her walking into the bank, robbing the bank with no face covering. Is this just supposed to be, for him, a moment of catharsis? Is this a moment of, I'm just getting out all of this pent-up energy that I have? I'm finally back in the revolution game. I'm looking for my daughter. This is all the panic coming out. Was it that, or was it just supposed to be a moment that was dramatic, but forgot that he was supposed to be sort of escaping unnoticed?
It could just be Leo. Sometimes Leo doesn't have much subtlety in his performances. He likes to go loud and angry. He loves that range in his performances. So that could have been it as well. Well, I've got
Rose, get me on that fucking door.
Yeah, that's what he should have said. Well, I've got a few negatives on my list, so y'all might just want to sit back and enjoy. I'm gonna start out with the side characters for the most part. I did not connect with any of them. I think while I like a movie that kind of throws you into the story and you got to catch up a little bit, this movie kind of fails the people in the revolutionary group because there were points when they were getting chased and things were happening to them. I was like, who is that again? And what? I didn't even know half their names. Admittedly, we're not supposed to, but at the same time, when something happens to them, I really didn't feel anything about that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was like, oh my God, no, that person got captured or killed or whatever. I was just like, oh, who was it? Oh, okay, all right. I wish that would have been, I mean, we had plenty of time to develop that in this movie. Her performance was fine. I know you liked the daughter more than I did. I think it got better as the movie went on, but when she first came on, I was a little worried. Because when she's first kind of butting heads with Leo, I don't know. It felt like almost like TV acting in this, what we have so far gone at. But I will say she did get better once the movie, and that's probably why she got better, because she learns really what her mother and her father have done, and now she's a part of it. So she has to react more. But at the beginning, I was a little more worried. I didn't fully invest in her for a while. The same thing with I can't remember the mother, Petulia, whatever the hell her name was. I just didn't like her. And I don't know if it's just her character. She wasn't a likable character to begin with. I get that. But then the movie's trying to, and I know Leo has tried to prop her up to his daughter. Obviously, you're not going to be like, oh, your mother was this and that and the other. But then when the truth comes out, it's still like they're trying to make her into something. And then at the end, there's a little extra added on where this is supposed to be this emotional moment. And I'm just sitting there going, no, she basically got all of those people that were with her either captured or killed. She's not a good person. Don't try to make me think this person is good. Not that the performance was bad. I just think the character for me, it just didn't work. I will say, we talked about a roller coaster earlier. I think this movie is a bit of a roller coaster tonally. I don't know. At points, it was kind of like it was trying to be everything all at once, or at least in sections. Like, you have what I felt like at moments were really satire on the political world. You know, there were things, especially that whole everything with Lockjaw and they were called the Christmas Adventurers or something, weren't they?
The Christmas Adventurers Club.
Yeah, that was it. That whole thing felt satire to me. I was like, okay, I got you here. I'm enjoying this. But then it would swing over to the revolutionary side, and that's super serious. And I got to take all of that serious. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to laugh at this, but not that? Why is this allowed to be funny, but this isn't allowed to be funny? Also, you know, we do bounce from comedy to drama, which is fine, but it's kind of like you swing. Woo, I'm laughing now. Oh, God, now back over to drama. Now I'm laughing again. I was like, come on, let's keep it somewhere in the middle for me to help me out. That probably is just me because, you know, I like movies where things blow up and boobies fly around and all that. That's what I enjoy. We did talk about it. This is going to be, I'm going to put it in the negative because this will be a negative for people. This movie has a message, and boy, it's about as subtle as Bruce Lee kick to the face. Because you get exactly, I mean, within the first 5 minutes of this movie, you know exactly what is being said and what was being promoted on screen and what this character is representing and what this one isn't. And so if that's something you don't want to watch, and I know there are people out there that don't want that, and if you get hung up on that, whatever political side you're on, yeah, this is not going to be for you, because yeah, he's laying it on thick at points of this movie. Like I said, though, once Leo kind of gets where the chaos starts, that it seemed like that stuff was there, but not as forefront. I guess because you're more invested in him trying to get his daughter and all that stuff. But like I said, the Christmas satire, Christmas Club satire, yeah, it's pretty heavy-handed. And my last negative, and you know it's going to be about, you knew before you even sat down, and all of you listening when I told you how long this movie was, knew that this was going to be my negative. This movie's too damn long. And it's too damn long in the worst possible way that Hollywood, I swear they're doing it, Frank, more and more now, is that you have a natural ending point to a movie. And you're like, okay, everything's resolved. I'm there. You got me. Now I have to have 30 more minutes of movie that I really didn't need because everything was wrapped up. It was done. I don't want to spoil things, but let's say after the car chase, I don't think that spoils anything. We get a little bit of emotional resolution. For that part, I was like, okay, that's what I thought. I thought, okay, we got this closure. We're going to get this little emotional moment, and then we're out the door. We're good. But then you have that other character who I thought, God, I don't know how to say. I'm not going to spoil it. You know what I'm saying. I thought that character was no longer in the movie. And then you get that thing went on for like 20 minutes of something that I didn't need because it's already been resolved. It was like, why do I need this more? It really, and there are things in the movie like the Christmas. God, why can't I not remember what it is? The Christmas Adventure Club. I get the satire part of it, but it really wasn't that important to the movie. You could have found another way for things to happen without them being involved, and that would have shaved 20 or 30 minutes off of this movie. So, yeah, that just frustrates the hell out of me. Not that it's a long movie, it's an unnecessarily long.
I think that when you have movies of this length, they really need to be damn good. Because movie theaters, they lose money. Because when they screen these films, they can only screen so many. They can only have so many showings a day.
Like
so
I said,
if
that's just a 3-hour section of their business day that's gone.
So if they can only show a movie on opening weekend 3 times in one day, I mean that's, as opposed to something like a Marvel movie or the Fantastic Four or something, which is going to be a blockbuster, but they're able to play that on multiple screens at
and get
alternating times and get more get more life out of it, out of the ticket sales, I mean. So you would think that movie theaters would not be too thrilled when filmmakers indulge themselves to go this long.
Well, by feeling on that, and I brought this up in your episode, The Graduate, that I reviewed, and I've mentioned on another episode that the Regal Cinemas near me has been doing this really cool thing through September where they're playing a different classic movie every day. And for all you people that live near Regal, in October, they're playing a different horror movie every day. So go check that out. And Regal, you owe me for that. Maybe some free popcorn or something. But at any rate, so I've gone to some of these movies, and even with The Graduate, I mean, those movies are coming in at 2 hours, hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And these are classic movies that people are going to talk about for 100 years from now. And then you sit in something like this, and you're like, okay, well, after you watch that and you watch it, why? Why do I need this much more when you've told the story? You're done. I think that's what frustrates me the most, especially with, I would say, this movie, because I think because I knew how long it was going in. I was already dreading it. And then when it just kept going, I was like, just stop the movie. We know what happened. You did it. You achieved it. We're done. But yeah, I think Paul Thomas was like, you know what? They gave me $130 million. I'm going to spend every damn dime.
For a movie of this length, though, I will push back a little bit and say that I found this to be a hell of a lot more compelling than The Brutalist. And I also found this.
Yes, you're right.
The Brutalist was brutal.
It was.
And honestly, I will say that I found this movie more engaging than Anora. I
did not see it. Anora.
Both Oscar movies from last year, both of them in terms of length, very bloated. And I will say that this one battle after another, is the one that kept my attention the most.
All right. So overall, what are your feelings or thoughts on the movie as far as recommending it? I don't give a number rating, so you could tell people whether that you would recommend going to the movie theater, sit at home, wait for it to come out on the streaming in 3 weeks, or just stay as far away from it as possible.
First, I would recommend seeing it, yes. Second, I would recommend seeing it on the big screen, if anything, for the car chase sequence.
Okay.
If car chase sequences don't do it for you, if they don't excite you even on the big screen, I will say that if you wait to watch this on streaming, it's probably, and I say this because of the length, it's probably not as likely to hold your attention the entire time. Watching it on the big screen, it held my attention the entire time. But when the movie ended, I was thinking to myself, would I have had my eyes on the screen throughout all of this if I were watching this on my laptop, on my iPad,
oh, yeah.
or even on a big
TV.
television
Yeah,
screen.
right. It would be easy to get distracted. Your phone goes off, and you're just half the movie goes by.
So I don't know how this movie will do for the average moviegoer when it is available for streaming, when people watch it at home. For that reason, I think I would recommend seeing it in the theaters, yes. Now, do I recommend length aside the movie? I will have to say, despite its flaws, it's not perfect. I mentioned all the flaws that I came up with. This movie, to me, was a banger. I think PTA swung.
Okay.
I think he hit. I think that this is... I already said how I think this is Leo's best performance and best role of his career. I don't know if I will go on record as saying that this is my favorite PTA film, but I will go on record as saying this is definitely one of my favorite PTA films. I'll say that at least.
Okay. Well, this one is tough. This one is tough because you're right. I think this movie plays better on the big screen. It's filmed for the big screen. It's meant for the big screen. So you lose that cinematic quality even when we go to home, watching it at home on a big TV. I don't know. This is tough for me to recommend because, god damn, it's long. That's 3 hours. Oh my God, why? If this movie was 2 hours, I'd be like, all right, go watch it. If nothing else for Leonardo's performance and, most of the main cast. I will recommend it if you are able to sit through a long movie. You love the way a Paul Thomas Anderson movie looks and you really enjoy that. And you're okay with a movie that is definitely giving you a message and it's not subtle about it. It's not pretending to be something other than what it is in that regard. So I would recommend if you could do that. And, there's people probably not listening to us. Well, not listening to me anyway, that are big film fans that are going to rush out to see it. They're going to love it. I got that. Normal person, I would say probably wait till streaming. I think you are, like I said, you'll probably get distracted at points because there are some quiet moments, but unless you want to go to the movie theater and leave 30 minutes before it's over, when the movie is actually done, when the story is over, if you did that, you would enjoy it. But yeah, I'd probably wait till streaming for an average. I think this is the type of movie that we discussed earlier of his films, Paul Thomas Anderson. This is accessible. If this came on Netflix and you want to sit down and enjoy it, I think you would like it better if you're not one of those people that can sit in a 3-hour movie. How was that for a wishy-washy, flip-floppy recommendation? That's me not trying to piss off all the cinephiles out there so they hit my social medias and go, oh my God, you just don't understand these movies. That's why. Fuck off. I understand the damn movie. I also understand it was too damn long. But those are our thoughts on one battle after another. And if you are still listening to get our final thoughts, then we must have done something right. And if we did, again, for me, please follow the show, whatever you're listening to it on. There's probably a follow button, a subscribe button somewhere. Like, comments, give reviews. Leave comments and tell me how stupid I am. I don't really give a damn. I don't care. My opinion of movies is right. Frank's is wrong. I'm right. All of you else are wrong. But please follow the show. Find me on Instagram at Cinematic Traveler Pod. My email address, thecinematictravelerpod@gmail.com, and you play the contest. Tell me what song it was that I used in this movie. Now I'm going to turn it over to Frank so he could tell you about Reels of Cinema again and where to find it and movies across the pod and the 12 other podcasting things that he does in this world. The busiest man in podcasting universe is on the show with me today. Take it away, Frank. I'm going to get drunk.
As much as I appreciate your flattery, I'm staring at you blankly in judgment.
That's everybody in my life, Frank. Get in line, buddy.
Oh, Chris, I love you. Okay, so my solo podcast is called Reels of Cinema. It is right now in the upper 20s as far as episode numbers are concerned. I was doing a show called Silver Screeners. I retired that one after about 4 years. So Reels of Cinema is still in the first few months. I began it in April of this year. So hopefully it will gain traction and do as well as Silver Screeners did. You can find Reels of Cinema on most major podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, iTunes. You can also find any information pertaining to Reels of Cinema on a Facebook group, which is called Reels of Cinema. You
Clever.
can follow me on... I like to think outside the box. You can also follow me on X Twitter at FilmBuff1974, Instagram and Threads at FrankMendoza1974. You can email me at reelsofcinemapod@gmail.com. You can also check out our show, me and my friend Dave out in Liverpool, Movies Across the Pod. You can find that one. I would suggest for that one, you can find it on Spotify the best.
And I appreciate you coming on the show, Frank, and talking about this long-ass movie with this country bumpkin down in here in Charleston, South Carolina, at least here in Charleston, South Carolina for the moment. By the middle of next week, I could be floating out in the middle of the ocean. The hurricane might wash us all away. Okay, we got to get this over with. I just want to tell everybody out there, I appreciate you listening to the show. I tell everyone I know I got the smartest and sexiest audience in all the podcast universe. You never fail to live up to those high standards. And as you are traveling around on this blue and green ball, bouncing through the cosmos, I need you to do one thing for me. Go out there and do that voodoo that you do so well.
All right, show's over. I'm tired.